Welcome to Friday. It's the third day of December 2021. Your day weather podcast is going to be talking about that the party we've been having is about to be over soon. Records absolutely smashed yesterday. Not only did we break records for the day, but we had some of the warmest temperatures ever measured in December over the last 100 years or so. So that remarkably warm weather pattern we've had over the last really several weeks and yesterday is going to hang on for another day or two. We're not going to be as warm. We're not going to be breaking any records today or tomorrow. It will be mild, though, relative to averages. Do be ready for some wind on Saturday, especially across portions of Montana and Wyoming, parts of Colorado too, but in particular I-25 and I-80 Saturday afternoon and Saturday night and Sunday morning will have high winds because a much colder air mass, a cold front, is going to be moving out of Canada into Montana by Saturday morning. By Sunday morning, it'll be into northern Wyoming, and by Sunday night, it'll be into Colorado. We're going to have some mountain snow. We'll have some snow showers in the plains and upslope clouds, and it's going to be a shock to the system. After many areas in the 60s and 70s yesterday, by Sunday afternoon, many areas will only be in the 20s and down to the teens Sunday night. We have another front Monday night into Tuesday. That'll bring another shot of cold air, snow, especially to the high country. We have another cold front coming late Wednesday into Thursday. Another front for the weekend. Notice a trend here? The trend is looking a lot different. More photos continue to roll on in. A great shot over Thanksgiving week there near Garrett, Wyoming. And then another great shot out of Gillette. Another great sunrise this morning across the Intermountain West. Maybe soon we'll be exchanging these photos for snow photos. Let's hope if you're a snow lover. Now let's take a look at how the month of November ended in terms of where we are all the way up through the 1st of December. If we were to look at the last 30 days, these are the temperature anomalies. So anywhere you see orange or red color, temperatures were above average across North America here during the month of November. With the cold in these three areas here, and definitely extremely cold in Alaska and across parts of the northeastern areas of the Pacific Ocean. Now that's how we ended up November into the first day of December. And you can see along the front range of the Rockies here how warm it was relative to average. Now you may say, well, it's been like that all year. It's going to end up being a warmer than average year. I mean, geez, it was 70 degrees in a lot of areas yesterday. But actually, if you were to look at the temperature anomaly since January 1st, actually, you see how the white areas represent where temperatures are basically normal. They have been normal for the year if you were to average it all up. With cooler than average temperatures in the southeast, the warmest part of the North American continent for the year has been in this area here. Then you can see the cold up in Alaska and everything here. A lot of the weather, in terms of what people remember about the weather, tends to be what has just happened. So when you examine the weather, a lot of it is what have you done for me lately? But if you look at longer term trends and if you look at what it's actually been like since the first of the year, the story's a little bit different. And we're about ready to change all of those things. So we may end up looking at a December that could go the other way. Thing you need to remember, when you're in La Niñas that happen near or just after solar minimums, historically this is what we see. Blocking patterns where the weather pattern gets stuck, and this ends up giving you extremes. You get extreme areas where it's much warmer than normal. You get extreme areas that are much colder than normal side by side. It just kind of shows you that. The February Arctic outbreak of last year is a good example. The heat wave that the Pacific Northwest had in late June and early July, and the big Russian heat wave in 2010, all partly due to La Nina patterns, especially when La Ninas occur near that solar minimum. So it's not unusual, I guess is what I'm getting at, to have what we had yesterday. Remember, we can do a 180 and have the exact opposite happen before the winter's over. Today's jet stream winds are just exactly the same. Mild Pacific air continues to flow on in. It's just that the jet stream is sagging a little more south today, and that's why it's just going to be a little bit cooler. However, this is by Sunday noon. Notice a big deviation. High pressure builds in the eastern Pacific. All of a sudden, the jet stream turns now coming in from the northwest. So you're looking at a big degree change. If you were to measure the degree change from where the jet stream is now to where it's going to be by Sunday noon, Well, it's a big difference. And then we've got a low right here. This is what's coming for Monday night, Tuesday. Cold air, see the blue here? Follow the wind barbs coming right in from there. So Montana, the Dakotas, northeastern Wyoming, you're going to see a remarkable drop in temperature. Now, these are temperatures by noon Sunday. By noon Sunday, the front is just past the Wyoming-Colorado border. These are temperatures in Fahrenheit, going below zero up here by noon Sunday. Temperatures only in the mid-20s into Casper, getting into the teens up into northern areas of Montana. By Monday morning, temperatures actually go below zero along the U.S.-Canadian border. Temperatures are in the 20s in Albuquerque. So the cold air is really going to spill down south and give us the first salvo of cold air, really changing things up. We're going to get a little moisture as well. Not a lot, but you can see right along the U.S.-Canadian border there's a concentration of moisture. Basically, as Pacific air overruns that Arctic air, you're going to get some snowfall there, and snow is going to come down into the mountains of Montana and Wyoming, and probably in the far northern Colorado by Sunday into Monday. And this is what the snowfall looks like through Monday afternoon. So you can see a pretty good swath of snow forming up there, and mountains finally getting back into the snow as well. By Monday night and Tuesday, we got a low swinging into Salt Lake. There'll be another chunk of colder air coming in behind it. We've got the high pressure ridge building in the eastern Pacific. We've got the high pressure ridge. This is something we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, where you get highs anchored in the Pacific and the Atlantic, and that makes a bowl for that cold air to come out of Canada. This is by Thursday noon. The trajectory of the air into North America and the lower 48 now is dominantly from the northwest, with the dagger of the coldest of cold going into the Dakotas, but also some of the cold air getting along and west of the Continental Divide. This is Saturday. So this is Thursday. This is Saturday. Another front. And again, the trajectory of the air is colder. There's some really cold air right there that's going to go into the northern plain states. This is why we're saying the party's over. Over the next 10 days, this is what the snowfall looks like. You can see that the mountains are going to get into snow. That snowpack's going to get a boost, and we're starting now to see the tendency for some snowfall out into the plains. I think the mountains are going to be the big winners. This is not a pattern where you get a lot of snow on the plains. I do, though, think we're going to see some. These are temperatures by next Saturday night relative to average. So you can see the sharp contrast here. The cold is expanding all the way into the Great Lakes. West Coast to the Great Lakes, temperatures by the end of next week and next weekend are going to flip from the blowtorch weather we had over the last few days and the last few weeks to this. By the end of next week, there's that anchoring of high pressure out in the Atlantic and out in the Pacific. So the cold air, the trend of the forecast is for the weather to come in now from the northwest instead of the west. Also, you see this low west of Hawaii? This low helps maintain this high. And as long as that high is anchored there, we're going to be in a colder trend. And that all develops slowly at first, but gets more established heading into next week. New look at the European model out to 45 days. This goes out to the middle of January. So this kind of sticks its neck out and goes really far. But what I wanted to show you here, the green and the blue shows the above average precipitation possibilities. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but the modeling, the long-term modeling, is seeing that the Intermountain West and the Northern Rockies and part of the Great Basin will see an increase in precipitation through the middle of January. And you can see how focused that moisture is into the mountain areas. So this is why we're bullish about the snowpack and the ski areas. We'll all finally see the snow machines that aren't man-made kick into gear. This is the temperature outlook through the middle of January. Where you see green there, that's really, really cold. Now this map will change. This is a bit of a dynamic situation, but the long-term modeling is now syncing up with the analog way of forecasting as well. So the party is coming to an end. We're going to get rid of phase 1, and now we're going to see some periods of phase 2 with La Nina. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday, and we'll have more detail on what's coming as we look at December a little bit more closely into the middle of the month.